buckle up. This is not going to be a short fight. But if you want to be on the right side of history, if you want to be on the side of justice, then join us as we make this country live up to the ideals that it, wrote down that it was on paper. I'll have white people who come up to me, very nice, very kind. And the end of the conversation steers around to what they really stopped me for, right? Which was for them to tell me that they're not racist, okay? And then for me to take out my magical wand and say, kneel before me, and I tap them on the shoulder and say, I absolve you of your racism, right? The focus on who is racist or not only serves white people. Matter of fact, I think it's only something that white people individually care about. It is about saying, I can remove myself from this dynamic that is impacting all people of color in a negative way. And as long as there is some other white person who is more racist than I, then I no longer have to think about this, feel guilt about this, do anything to dismantle the system. There's this unfortunate myth in the United States that if you get a bunch of good people in a room, that racism or sexism or heterosexism will cease to exist. Or maybe if you get a bunch of just a critical mass of people of color. So now people talk about diversifying, that maybe racism will cease to exist. Or even if you get a bunch of people who individually hold anti-racist beliefs in a room, that racism will cease to exist. But we know, both based on this country and the ways in which our institutions operate, is that people work within institutions. For a long time in this country, people have been thinking like, well, things have gotten better. And maybe one day, if my kids don't see color, racism will just poof and go away. But the reality is that the racism starts at the policy level. It doesn't start with changing hearts and minds. Changing hearts and minds is good. Definitely want to change hearts and minds. I don't want to run into racist individuals, but I don't lose sleep over being mean to me. What I lose sleep over is having to interface with the healthcare system and getting inequitable treatment there. Having to interface with banking and trying to get a home loan, getting inequitable treatment there. Having to interface with law enforcement structure and getting inequitable treatment there. So I want people to keep the eye on the prize. We need white people to educate their children about racism and to have those difficult conversations, and not to necessarily convince your bigoted family member to not be bigoted, right? I think that white people have had 400 plus years to determine at a moral level where they stand on these issues, but to also understand that we need all the people that we can get to move this work forward, and to work with the people who are willing to learn and willing to listen and willing to work. There will always be opposition in this work. That's a given. And so it's not about converting every single individual person, right? But it is about catalyzing the people that we do have and building something that you all can sustain to move forward. It really depends upon white America looking at itself and asking itself the critical question of, are you still willing to receive these privileges, most of which, almost exclusively all of which, are not scarce, that could be extended to all people without you losing those privileges, right? If the police stop coming into our communities and beating and brutalizing and murdering us, it's not like they're gonna have to go into the suburbs and start cracking heads there. The principal thing that we're asking for you to do is to show up for yourself and your humanity, right? And if you show up for yourself and your humanity, then that is the best thing you can do to show up for the Black community. Basically, in everything that we do, we have to think about is this increasing the burden that's on the Black body or the body of people of color or the system, or is it decreasing it? And trying to find action in your life that you can take to decrease that burden. Go grocery shopping for a Black person this week. I don't know, do anything that you can do to mitigate the fact that not only are Black folks living, existing, raising kids, going to work in the middle of this dynamic, many of us are out there on the front lines fighting against this system tooth and nail as well. And so what can you do to lighten that load is something that I think is critical.